the Titans were really bad this year. They were absolutely terrible, right? And they're not looking like they're going to be too great anytime soon. But does that mean that I don't miss the Titans season? No, I am missing going home every Sunday and watching my Tennessee Titans play some football, because now we're stuck in the period of time where it's just mock drafts every week and just, what's going to happen in the draft? Who is going to take the number one pick? Who are we going to take? And again, who's going to take it if we trade it down? Like, what is going to happen? But alas, here we are, and this is going to be most of the coverage until draft day. I may do a couple of troll ones in there. There'll probably be some big news coming out of the Titans camp over the next couple of weeks before the draft. But now I just got to work with what I got. So anyway, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and we've got a decent amount to get into today. Today, we are going to go over the mock draft for the Tennessee Titans, to me at least, that I think could happen and is starting to look like there's rumors going around about it. This is the trade down mock draft. And this is kind of the interesting one, because this is the one that's dividing the fan base right now. Same thing with quarterback, but I don't know. I feel like I see more people talking about this. Should we trade down to 3 or 6 or wherever? Should we trade down with anybody, or should we stick at 1 and take a shot at Cam Ward or somebody like Shedeur Sanders? What should we really do? So let's get into that. But before we do, though, I didn't even put this in my notes, but obviously a really big game happened on Sunday. I think it's called the Super Bowl. It was 59, I believe. That was one of the worst Super Bowls I have ever seen. It gave me Seahawks Broncos vibes, quite frankly. Just absolutely terrible from all ends. I feel like that the Chiefs could have put up at least a little bit more of a fight, but hey, here we are. They got completely crushed, and now the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Happy for Saquon. Happy for Jalen Hurts. On A.J. Brown. I'm obviously happy for Mailata, as I love listening to his Christmas stuff every year, but I'm not happy for the Eagles fans. No offense, Eagles fans. I'm sure there are some of y'all that are chill, but the representatives of y'all's fan base are quite terrible. Then there's also Nick Sirianni. Man, I wish that dude could not claim himself as a Super Bowl champion. But hey, here we are. Anywho, oh yeah, also the Chiefs getting blown out by that much. So, is there a chance that Mike Borgonzi was the one behind all of that dark voodoo magic stuff this year? I don't know. It's just me trying to be optimistic. I mean, the Super Bowl logo is blue. It's not the boldly blue one like everybody's been spreading around over the past little bit. No, there's one that's it's blue and it's purple and yellow. So we're getting a Vikings versus either Bills, Titans, Bills or Titans, and I'm sure that there's another team that I can throw in there that I'm not thinking about. So hey, never say never. Aaron Rodgers leads us to a Super Bowl. Anywho, no, I'm messing around, but again, very fun for us to think about as Titans fans. We don't really have that much. So it's fun to think about whenever there's a chance that we could win a Super Bowl. Wait, did I go live? Okay, in case you noticed a cut, I accidentally stopped recording because I thought that I was live. Thank goodness I wasn't, but anywho, we can go on with the episode. Where was I? Oh yeah, right. Titans to the Super Bowl. Again, fun to think about. We're down on our luck as Titans fans, and it's just fun to think about. So, anywho, that's all the Super Bowl talk that I have. Let's get into the real meat and bones of today. Today, we are going to be talking about the draft and what I would do if we traded down. So, here's the trade that would happen, or the trade that the mock simulator would let me do, okay? So, I think that we could take a little bit out of this deal from our end, and I think that we could pouch on the Giants a little bit more than this, but this is the trade that I had set up, okay? So, Giants get the first pick, the 33rd pick, and pick 102. The Titans get the third pick, pick 34 this year, 2026 first and 2026 second. Now, here's the thing, right? This is the perfect opportunity if you really think that none of these quarterbacks are going to be good whatsoever. And you can just really take advantage of someone else about like thinking, okay, these quarterbacks are bad. Let's trade them to a quarterback desperate team like the Giants. So if we trade them that and we get Shedeur, and Shedeur ends up either having just a really bad rookie year or he just ends up being bad in general, then chances are you're going to have a really high draft pick next year. And that is something that we need right now, especially in a class like next year where you could see Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, if he develops, Drew Aller. He obviously also needs a little bit more development. Obviously, Arch needs development too. Obviously, these guys need development, and we need to see them for one more year. But those three guys, if Nico has a big boom next year, then I could definitely see him going up in the draft's rankings. Now, do I think that he'll have a year good enough to go to the draft? Probably not. But I do think that there is like a small possibility that he does something like that. But anyway, this isn't the Vols rundown, which, by the way, again, Super Bowl Sunday got in the way of my last recording. I will be back this week, hopefully, and just wanted to let that be known. But anywho, so that is the trade details. But obviously, now that leaves you with the question, who do we pick at 3? Well, with the third pick, the Tennessee Titans, I have them selecting Abdul Carter. Now, the mock draft simulator had the Browns taking Abdul Carter, which honestly, that could very easily happen. But from what I can see, at least, it seems like that if Cam Ward is there and the Giants do take Shedeur, like it's being predicted that they would if they traded up to 1, then they may draft Cam Ward. And even if they don't draft Cam Ward, I still feel like that Travis Hunter would end up being the second overall pick. That's just my 2 cents, but that is just how I feel. But anywho, so with the third pick, the Tennessee Titans select Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. Okay, so there's a lot of hype around this dude. Okay, and we obviously got to start out with the biggest thing. Dude is athletic. Like there's a reason that everybody's calling him Micah Parsons' doppelganger. Not only just because of the fact that they both wore 11 and went to Penn State, but because of the fact that they are game-wrecking edges who have insane athleticism, and you could potentially put anywhere on the field and they would do absolutely insane. Hopefully, Abdul Carter isn't as big of a head case as Micah Parsons is, but that's a different conversation for a different day. So he has insane athleticism, and dude, the man's violent. Like this is not, and that's something that fits in with Titans culture pretty well. Not trying to insinuate anything else about the players. Like I'm trying to insinuate stuff on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like how, whenever you go onto that field, whenever you see the Titans, you're expecting tough, gritty football, big hits and all that type of stuff. So he fits in well with that, but also you're not going to be worried about him shying away from going for a sack because he wants to hit a dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he just wants to absolutely destroy somebody and make sure that the opposing quarterback doesn't have any room to breathe. So again, Abdul Carter, to me at least, is potentially my personal favorite prospect in this draft, and it's who I think we should pick. I think that we should trade down to 3 to go get him, though, because I feel like that sticking at 1 is a huge missed opportunity, especially with the fact that the Giants will draft a quarterback. That's obvious enough if they did trade up to 1. And if the Browns are interested enough in Cam Ward, then they'll probably draft him if Shedeur gets drafted to the Giants. And even if he doesn't, they'll probably go get Travis Hunter. So I feel like that you're missing out on a huge opportunity here to trade down and get picks and still go get your defensive lineman of the future. But obviously, we got to talk about something that is negative about him, okay? Just because he's my 3rd overall pick and my favorite prospect in the draft does not mean that I'm just going to immediately just give him all the love, no negatives, perfect prospect, just absolutely amazing, okay? It's always 2 positives, 1 negative. So the 1 negative that I have for him is, yes, he is stupid athletic, but sometimes he relies a little bit too much on he relies too much on his athleticism. Like, there will be some times where you look at him and you think, this dude does not have a bag at all. All that he has is speed and swim. But, he needs to bulk up a little bit to get that power for him, which, that's something that rarely gets talked about, to me at least, among the Abdul Carter people. Because, like, here's the thing. I get it. I'm big on Abdul Carter, too. But that is probably my biggest criticism of him. He's got to bulk a little bit, get some, start eating some, not McDonald's because we don't want him to be fat, but like start eating some meat, like start eating some steak, some chicken, that type of stuff. Healthy chicken, not the type that, chicken nuggets from McDonald's again. So, like, again, Abdul Carter, to me at least, is the best prospect in this draft. Great prospect. Obviously, need to make sure that he doesn't rely too much on his athleticism and gets a little bit of a bulk on him whenever he gets into the league. But yeah, and also he's going to get coached by Tracy Rocker. Who doesn't love that? Anywho, moving on. So the pick that we traded for, round 2, pick 34. Okay, so with this pick, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Josh Conerly Jr., offensive tackle, Oregon. Okay, so obviously, I know that a lot of people aren't going to like this. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time, especially for my QB people. I do not have a single QB being drafted in this draft. Now, my thing is, like, obviously 4th, 5th round quarterbacks, those are just guys that you take random flyers on. Not really somebody that you want to develop in the background and then build your franchise around in a few years. I mean, there are like 1 or 2 teams that have done that, but nothing too significant. And then there's also Jackson Dart in the 2nd. I do not want Jackson Dart. Okay, if you've seen my Twitter account, you know I am loud and clear. I think that he's Will Levis 2.0. He has a really good arm, but he comes from a mid SEC program. Actually, I wouldn't say mid, but like a not elite SEC program that, even though they have been consistent over the past couple of years, have never been able to get over the hump. So, that's why I just don't think Jackson Dart will be I don't think he'll be that good. Like, I think that, again, you can say the same thing about Nico next year, but like, that Lane Kiffin offense does not develop good quarterbacks, at least for the NFL. Hold on. I don't mean as in like they don't develop good quarterbacks in college. Like, obviously, Lane Kiffin gets the best out of his quarterbacks in college. Just the NFL, whenever they get there, they're just confused and they don't know what they're doing. But that is something worth mentioning. Okay, so anywho, but going back to Josh Conerly. Okay, Titans really need an offensive tackle. Josh Conerly is one of the better offensive tackles to take in the 2nd round. So, again, that's why I picked him. Okay, so first off, he's got elite speed, really has like a very solid, quick first step, and dude is also pretty big. I can't remember the stats specifically, but he does seem like he would be a very big dude, and obviously that's always going to be hard to get around. He's also like a natural pass blocker. Like, I don't know how to describe that, but like whenever he makes his stance and whenever he whenever he drops back the block, like, you can just tell it is all natural, and it just, there's something about that you can't really develop. And obviously he's got some raw parts of him. He has questionable strength versus a power rush, but again, this is when Bill Callahan comes into play. Like, I'm okay with just going one more year with a right tackle with Josh Conerly, if that means that Bill Callahan can develop him for the next year or 2. Okay, and obviously there's a good chance that we don't end up having Bill Callahan after this year's over if the team ends up being really, really bad. But we still got to think about that. That is still something that we can truly hold on to. And that's why I'm more comfortable with taking a 2nd round offensive tackle than not why more than a 1st round tackle, but it's why I am okay with drafting a 2nd round tackle instead of a 1st round tackle. Because, like, Bill Callahan can make a lot of offensive linemen look like first-round talents. I think that that's just 100% true. One of the best O-line coaches in the entire game, consistently gets the best out of his O-line by the time that he's done with whatever O-line he is coaching up, and just overall solid coach. But still, okay, Josh Conerly, again, going back to him, I really like this guy, and I think that he could end up causing trouble for other teams, especially if he's given the right development. Okay, round 4, pick 119. I have the Titans selecting Demetrius Knight, linebacker, South Carolina. Okay, you're going to have to hear me out on this one. This one and my last pick, you're going to have to hear me out on. I don't think Cedric Gray is going to be that good. He's a project, obviously. We got to let him develop. I don't know. There was just, unless he just makes a huge jump and just proves everybody wrong in training camp this year or even OTAs, I don't know. There's just, I don't get that feeling about him like I did whenever we first drafted him. Like, I was really high on that pick whenever we first drafted him. But I don't know. There's just something that feels off about him. Like, it feels like that he's destined to be a very solid special teams player, but not really do anything else with his career. And James Williams, well, I'm going to hint at, I'm going to spoil this for a point that I was going to make later. But Demetrius Knight is a better version of James Williams, because James Williams, as athletic as he is, can sometimes just not be too smart whenever he is solely going after the blitz. You know, like there are some moments where, you know, he'll just get too carried away in the game and go straight at the line, not even thinking about it on a play action pass, and then the middle is just wide open. So that is, again, something to consider about James Williams. But tangent aside, Demetrius Knight, linebacker, South Carolina. He has natural blitz instincts. You see what I mean by he is a lot like James. He's an upgraded James Williams. This is what I was getting at. So like Demetrius Knight, again, he has the instincts. He is I was about to say natural pass blocker. Wrong notes. He has good coverage awareness. Again, like that is something that you don't get from James Williams. Like really good with the blitz, but his coverage is it's okay. It's there. It's fine, but like it's not really that great, and it could drag down a defense if you were to have to start for a game or two. Or at least that's how it feels. So, like, I like the fact that this dude has more awareness and coverage. And there's a reason that he's going in round 4, unlike James Williams, who went in round 7. I keep on bringing up James Williams. I'm very sorry about that. James Williams fans, I'm sorry. I'm a James Williams fan, too. I promise. I really like what he does on special teams, and I think that he is a really solid player. But it's my best comparison to this dude, like an upgraded James Williams. But let's compare him to Cedric Gray, too. He doesn't have... let me look this up. I'm not too sure how tall he is, but I do think that he's bigger than Cedric Gray. Give me 1 sec. Okay, so they are the same height. Demetrius Knight has like 10 pounds on him. So again, Cedric Gray can fix that and probably will if the conditioning crew knows what to do. But again, I don't know. I got a feeling that Demetrius Gray is just Demetrius Gray. My gosh, can you tell I'm tired? But I got a feeling that Demetrius Gray is Demetrius Gray. Oh my gosh, I got a feeling that Demetrius Knight is a little bit better than James Williams and Cedric Gray, and I wouldn't be shocked if this front office wanted to go in a different direction with the linebacker position than Ran Carthon did. So that's that. Okay, Demetrius Knight, again, I like him. He does have some questionable change of direction stuff, though, so I will mention that. But, again, something that can be developed in the background. But, anywho, again, I'm going a little bit faster with these just because I'm not as educated on the second half of this as I am just even the first 2 picks. So round 5, pick 142, Ricky White, wide receiver out of UNLV. He's fast and slippery. He has some solid special teams qualities, but he is very tiny. And here's the thing. I think that this dude could work as like a solid like rotational slot receiver. It doesn't look like Jaquan Jackson's going to end up being too much of anything. And obviously, Kyle Phillips is chilling with the Eagles, going to get a Super Bowl. If I can find the picture, I'll put it up here of him, you know, smoking a cigarette in the locker room. It was one of the stupidest images I've ever seen, but you know, it was still funny. I'm gonna put that timestamp down so that way I don't forget to edit that. But anywho, again, like all those dudes are gone, and now we need like a tiny dude that'll come into the game and will run like a really fast deep route and just come down with something to change a little bit of momentum on the offensive side. And I feel like that Ricky White is that guy. So, again, not that much else to say. He's tiny, but he is fast, and he has a quick release, and he has decent special teams experience, which is something that we need. We need, like, Bones needs everybody that he can get to turn around this special team. So, anywho, next pick, okay, pick 168 in round 5. Jacob Parrish, cornerback, Kansas State. Run defense is pretty solid. Consistently gets hands on contested catch. Basically, whenever you're seeing like a jump ball or something like going into the end zone, he always finds a way to get in there and get physical with the receiver. That's something that I appreciate. His upper body strength is a little bit questionable, but still, and piece right here, just somebody that could end up being decent. Round 6, pick 180. Yeah, pick 180. Malachi Moore, safety, Alabama. Now, does it hurt me drafting an Alabama player? Well, yes, it does. But I'm not too sure what's going to happen with Quandre Diggs, and even if he does come back, we need a little bit of depth at that safety position, or heck, even just somebody for the future. So I like the idea of Malachi Moore. He's played in the SEC. He's been a very solid contributor for that Alabama roster, and I don't know, there's just something like, how you get this is somebody, how you get a vibe about that dude that you're just like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be insane. I got a feeling that Malachi Moore is going to be one of the steals of the draft. Like, whether it's as a rotational player or just become a great safety. Like, I think that he is going to contribute something to an NFL team. That's just how I feel, at least. And I think that he is going to be a lot better than people are expecting. And again, he was one of the only bright spots on that Alabama defense. And again, this is coming from a Tennessee fan. So you should know that I am obviously interested in this. Okay, but so he's got very good ball tracking ability. I was able to see that in the Alabama game. That's for sure. He is a solid open field tackler. Nobody is just going to come in so he's not just going to absolutely whiff some big tackle in the middle on the 50-yard line or something like that. Like, he's going to be at least consistent in that sort of way. He does have an injury history, which is questionable. And also, again, I know it probably looks biased on my part that I'm doing a second negative for Malachi Moore, but I think that this is warranted. He's very good. He's solid at almost everything, but he's not phenomenal at one thing. And that could end up making him the rotational player that most people are expecting him to be. But I don't know. I just got a feeling about him. So anyway, Malachi Moore, there you go. Okay, final pick of the draft. I have us selecting Ryan Fitzgerald, kicker, FSU. Hear me out. I know that this is not a popular pick, but Nick Folk's getting old, dude. Like, we don't know when he could play his last game. Braden Narvison ended up not being the future of the Tennessee Titans, which is very unfortunate because he looked like he could have been the one. And, we have no clue what the kicker position is going to be for the future. So, Ryan Fitzgerald, kicker, Florida State. Okay, you guys mostly know this guy for, that one game against Georgia Tech where he hit all those big field goals and was the only reason that they were even competitive in that game. And yes, this is true. But I feel like that this dude was probably the only bright spot on this stinking football team. Like, this football team was terrible. One of the worst, like, Power 4 football teams I have ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because I have seen some really bad Tennessee teams stroll through Knoxville. And I have seen those Arkansas teams from, like, the late 2010s I can't remember the coach's name, but one of the worst that you will ever see. And like, dude, again, really bad team, but he was a bright spot on it. And he's also got really good kicking power. So, I don't know. It's just something to mention. And I do think that Bones can get the best out of him. So, anyway, that's it for today's episode. I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok all under the Titans Rundown if you want to go check those out. And I also have the Vols Rundown. Again, I was going to record this week, but I don't know. Just kind of forgot about it. No, not forgot about it. Super Bowl Sunday kind of got in the way of that. I will be back next week, though. I promise. And yeah, anyway, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.